Coming up on the March 23rd edition of Sports Extra, how sweet it is. UNC is on to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2012. How the Heels survived Harvard and ran past Arkansas. Will they be elite?
Women's basketball started its tourney, and the ladies are doing a little dancing themselves. The only thing standing between them and the Sweet 16 is the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll take you live to Carmichael.
And from one big dance to another, we check out what's got these Tar Heels dancing to tango, foxtrot, and salsa. All that and more. Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
March Madness was in full swing this weekend. Upsets everywhere, the ACC was almost undefeated, and a #1 seed went down. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Andrew Stern.
And I'm Alana Albrecht. Through all of that, the Tar Heels survived and advanced. Their next matchup will be against the #1 seed in the West, the Wisconsin Badgers. The tourney started on Thursday for Carolina against the Harvard Crimson, and it was way too close for comfort. Let's jump right in. The Tar Heels opened against Harvard, and JP Tokoto welcomed the Crimson to the tournament with a monster putback jam. Fast forward about a minute left, Siani Chambers gives Harvard its first lead with the 4-point play. Next possession, Justin Jackson, cool as the other side of the pillow, Carolina ties it up. And then off a Harvard miss, Jackson, the king of hop, Carolina retakes the lead, and then Harvard for the win. No good. 67-65, Tar Heels advance, and Harvard falls just short. Well, he's not as smart as a Harvard grad, but we'll let him talk anyway. Basketball analyst Brett Thompson, everyone. So, Brett, that was way scarier than it needed to be. But was this a good game for Carolina?
Well, first, Elena, thank you for that introduction, although my 4.0 GPA has something else to say about that. But yeah, it was a good game for North Carolina. It's a wake-up call. When you play a close game like that against a team from the Ivy League like Harvard, not really a powerhouse, it's a good thing for North Carolina, and it's invaluable experience for a guy like Justin Jackson. Scores the last 4 points, he hits the game-tying and go-ahead baskets. It's great for Carolina to pull a game like that out.
And that performance carried on to the Arkansas game. Andrew, let's tell them about that.
It was the agony and the ecstasy for me on Saturday night. As a native of Little Rock, Arkansas, and a die-hard Razorback fan, this game was brutal. With allegiances to both teams, all I could do was hope for a good game in which the best team advanced, and I got my wish. This game was fast and frenetic. Arkansas brought its full-court press all game, and passes were at a premium, like on this long one to Marcus Page at the front court for the layup. The crowd approves. Marcus keyed the break on this play, firing passes cross-court to Tokoto to Joel Berry for the easy deuce. The game was close going into halftime, but the Hogs had no answer for second-half Marcus. He was making circus shots, like on this layup over 3 Razorback defenders. Give that man his and one. Uh-oh. Watch the step back. Rain dance. Looks like somebody's heating up. He's on fire! Marcus scored 20 of his 22 points in the second half to lead the Heels to a 9-point victory. The game was fast, it was fun, and the better talent ended up winning out in the end.
Yeah, so what was the key to this one, Brett?
Well, I think as Andrew said it was Marcus Page. Page had 20 of his 22 points in the second half. He had 5 steals. That was part of 21 Arkansas turnovers. That's what happens when you try to run with Carolina. And Carolina also played through foul trouble. You had Bryce Johnson, you had Isaiah Hicks out. You had Kennedy Meeks sit out most of the second half with 4 fouls. When Carolina, with those guys on the bench, can pull out a game, it says a lot about their depth. And again, it's great to pull out a win like that, especially in the NCAA tournament.
And we saw Meeks go down towards the end of that game. Do we have any updates about a potential injury?
Yes, we do. We have news about Kennedy Meeks and his hurt left knee. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. Coach Roy Williams said today that Meeks has a knee sprain. The sophomore forward will be meeting with doctors today. The key will be getting the doctor's approval to return to the court. Williams said Meeks will need at least 1 day of practice, so if he isn't good to go by Wednesday, he will not be playing in the Sweet 16.
Well, the dust of the first weekend of March Madness has cleared, and UNC now knows its opponent for the Sweet 16. The Heels faced a stiff test in the region's #1 seed, the Wisconsin Badgers. The men from Madison have 32 wins to just 3 losses, going 16-2 in Big Ten play. National Player of the Year finalist Frank Kaminsky leads Wisconsin. Kaminsky averages 18.2 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.7 assists per game. Long story short, he can do it all. Badgers head coach Bo Ryan is 0-2 in his career against UNC, with one of those losses coming in, you guessed it, the Sweet 16.
Yikes, that's a scary matchup for Carolina.
So how are the Tar Heels going to compete with the Badgers?
Well, it all comes down to stopping Frank Kaminsky. Kaminsky's averaging 21.5 points per game in the tournament, and on the season he is 41.3% from 3. That's going to stretch a guy like Bryce Johnson out. He has trouble defending the perimeter. He's not the best defender in the world. So you got 2 solutions. You can go small with a guy like JP Tokoto at the 4. He's a little shorter than Kaminsky. Kaminsky is a 7-footer, but Tokoto's length may minimize that kind of damage. And you could also go with Isaiah Hicks. Hicks doesn't really stand out as a perimeter defender, but he has played small forward. That's where he played his freshman year. And yeah, if you want to beat Wisconsin, you absolutely have to stop Frank Kaminsky.
Well, one of the other things that we could possibly consider, obviously knowing how bad we are at guarding the perimeter and the three-point line, potentially we could go to a 3-2 zone, maybe spread the floor a little bit, really cover up that line and hopefully limit the damage from deep.
No, that's an excellent point, except zone is for cowards.
Well, Marcus Page's sister Morgan played for Wisconsin, but Page said blood is thicker than water, and she will be pulling for the Tar Heels. And thank you, Brett. Let's hope you're back next week for Final Four analysis.
Thank you.
Well, let's hope, excuse me. The men's NCAA tournament has already busted a bunch of brackets, and it's left our Sports Extra Bracket Challenge with a wide distribution of success, or lack thereof. There are currently 22 brackets in the pool, with only 4 of those above the 90th percentile. Tate is in the lead in the 97th percentile, just ahead of Atlanta, who is just short of the 95th. Tate's bracket has one little problem, though. His champion, Villanova, got knocked out in the round of 32 by none other than the Wolfpack of NC State.
The Lady Tar Heels kicked off the big dance in Carmichael this weekend, taking on the Liberty Flames in Sylvia Hatchell's return to the tournament. The head coach missed last year's tourney while battling cancer, and her players were determined to get her a win. Alicia Gray scored 17 points for UNC, and Latifah Coleman added 15 of her own. The Flames kept it close the whole game, but the Tar Heels pulled out a hard-fought win, 71-65. Not as close as the men's first-round game, but still too close. And the men are in the Sweet 16. The women are hoping to get there. Molly Oak is live at Carmichael Arena, where the Heels are set to host Ohio State.
Atlanta, that's right. Ohio State comes to Chapel Hill tonight, playing right here in Carmichael Arena at 6:30. Now, Ohio State has a 5th seed in the tournament this year, but UNC has the 4th seed. Now, these teams, this will be the 8th matchup for the two. They've played 7 times before, and UNC has won the past 4 of those. So you think the edge is in the Heels' favor, but not so fast. 5 of those games have only been decided by 9 points or fewer, so you're going to want to come out here tonight. So what do we need to look for? Fast-paced offenses. Both teams have said they like to move the ball and get it down the court as quickly as possible. They don't waste any time. So fans, wipe off your glasses, drink your coffee, and bring your A-game energy, because both these teams have a need for speed and they need you to be loud. Now let's switch gears from offense to defense. A key player to look for is Ohio State's freshman Alexa Hart. She holds the school record in season blocks, 128. A player that's key for UNC is Stephanie Mavunga, one of our post players. She's had a solid season's performance, scoring 10 points or more in 21 of her 22 games this season. So UNC needs her to play strong and get up onto those boards and blocks out this blocking machine. Now, the winner of these 2 games will play South Carolina in Greensboro in the Sweet 16. Back to you, Atlanta.
Molly Oak live at Carmichael Arena. Thanks, Molly.
The Diamond Heels took on Georgia Tech this weekend in Atlanta, taking the series on Saturday with a 5-1 win in the second game of the day. The Heels won the first game on Friday and then split Saturday's doubleheader with the Yellow Jackets. Junior outfielder Sky Bolt reached base on 9 of 13 opportunities, hitting 2 doubles and scoring 4 runs. Junior Trent Thornton picked up his 4th save, and junior catcher Corey Dunbar cranked 2 home runs during Carolina's first series win in Atlanta since 2009. It was a great weekend for wrestling, with one redshirt freshman getting top honors.
And he's not the only one pushing for the top. Next on Sports Extra. American wrestler in its ranks. Redshirt Ethan Ramos made it to the semifinals at 165 pounds at the 2015 NCAA Wrestling Championships. He made it on the podium after defeating his 7th-seeded Northwestern opponent, Pierce Harger, in the quarterfinals. However, Ramos fell to his competition in the semifinals 5-0. He headed into the consolation round of 6 on Saturday with a chance of coming out 3rd overall, but after 2 more tough losses, Ramos pulled out a 6th-place finish. We have an Olympic medalist in our midst, and he plans to coach the Tar Heels to national championships. Jenny Chu has more.
When UNC assistant wrestling coach Coleman Scott speaks,
Who's finding one when it matters?
Tar Heel wrestlers should probably listen. Why? Check out that thing around his neck.
I've been there, I've done it. That says a lot. You know, it's not just me telling you what I think it takes. I know what it takes. You know, I have the blueprint of being an Olympic champ. You know, I have the blueprint of making the Olympic team, making world teams, being an NCAA champ. I've done it.
He's been at the pinnacle of sports heights and wants to bring his championship mentality here to Chapel Hill.
I want to take a risk. I want to take a chance. I want to make my own legacy. And, you know, I believe we can do that here. I believe we can win. I know we can win. It's just getting all the pieces to the puzzle together and in the right spot at the right time.
The bronze medalist in the 2012 London Olympics still has some goals of his own.
My whole life was based around the Olympics and the Olympic dream, and not just going, but being an Olympic champion. And I still have the dream. That's still why I'm still training. You know, it's I can't give it up. I can't give it up.
Now that NCAAs are over, Scott is going to compete in the Wrestling World Cup for Team USA in early April. And he's not stopping there.
I still have an opportunity to be a world champ and then an Olympic champ in 2016. You know, so I'm still chasing the dream. And
Bronze is pretty good, but it's not enough.
I didn't want to look like I was, you know, frustrated, because it is a big accomplishment, but it's still, you know, it sort of hit me like this could be our national anthem and I could be representing our country on top of this award stand.
Coleman Scott wants nothing more than to be at the top of the podium when the Star-Spangled Banner is playing at the 2016 Rio Olympics. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jenny Chu, reporting.
Scott says that 5 to 10 years from now, people will be saying, man, coaching those Tar Heels was a great move.
The women's lacrosse team took on undefeated Boston College this weekend in a clash of top 5 teams. Boston College has never beaten Carolina in Chapel Hill, but UNC fell behind in a physical, low-scoring first half. Sophomore sensation Molly Hendrick kick-started the offensive attack with 4 second-half goals. Boston College would even the score at 9, giving the fans some bonus lacrosse for the second night in a row. The Tar Heels would lose 10-9 in overtime in a heartbreaker. The Heels will begin a 3-game road trip on Wednesday. It's rare indeed for both lacrosse teams to lose during the same weekend, but unfortunately it happened. The Terps snapped the men's undefeated streak by a score of 10-8. They bested the Heels in almost every category on Saturday, outshooting the Heels 42-31 and winning faceoffs 15-7. Seniors Jimmy Bitter and Joey Sankey tried to keep the Heels afloat. Each had 1 goal and 4 assists. That marks Bitter's 51st consecutive game with a point. Next up for the Heels was 2-time defending NCAA champ Duke on Sunday at Fetzer Field. It's officially spring, so that means more time outside. One UNC club spends a lot of time outside, no matter the weather, riding bikes.
When Sports Extra returns. The women's swimming and diving team made a splash this weekend at the NCAA Championships. The women ended their season Saturday with a 19th place finish in the NCAA Division I Championship for the 2nd year in a row. The 400-yard freestyle relay team swam a season best with a time of 3:15.8 to secure 12th place. Divers Alyssa Dawson and Michael Tim made a showing in the diving championships. Dawson placed 16th on the 10-meter platform, and Tim finished 15th on the 3-meter board.
This was a tough basketball season in the rivalry department, with UNC failing to claim a win against Duke. But luckily for us and one of the UNC Cycling Club members rectified that during the weekend. I caught up with the team at the Chatham County Road Race presented by Duke Cycling.
Most people learn to ride a bike when they're kids, but for the UNC Cycling Club, it's more than child's play. And what motivates each racer is unique to him or her.
I first started riding because a family member of mine has multiple sclerosis. And back at home, which is for me, Clemens, North Carolina, there's a charity ride that specifically benefits the National Multiple Sclerosis Society.
It only took a couple of years for Caputi to make the transition from charity events to racing. But she says racing is a completely different animal.
For racing, I don't sleep the night before. I'm extremely nervous, and just the atmosphere is a little bit more tense.
For some of their athletes, competition is nothing new. Luke Raunvelder is a sophomore transfer student at UNC who started racing competitively in junior high. And as of Saturday, he's the Chatham County Road Race champion in the men's Category C, taking down a number of Dukies in the process.
I attacked once, tried to keep it, didn't stick, so I regained with the pack, I guess, and was lucky enough to get away with the last sprint and take the win, so that was fun.
As it turns out, that result is pretty common for Raunvelder. He's the NCAA Division I national champion on the mountain bike, taking home that honor this past fall. In his spare time, Raunvelder is a professional mountain biker, traveling the world for races. Last year, he was invited to South Africa for the World Championships, in which he placed 29th. Racing at this level takes major commitment and some serious time management skills.
It's tough, especially as a student athlete. You know, you have to balance the curriculars and extracurriculars.
While he could drop out to ride full time, he says he wants a fallback option.
I'd like to have that, that backup plan. Graduating from UNC it's a good backup plan. So.
But Caputi wants her fellow Tar Heels to know that they don't have to race to be part of the team.
We also want to open doors for those people who don't want to do competitive cycling and just want to do group rides.
Aside from that, it's a great group of people. I definitely feel a sense of community here, and it's just hard, you get a really good workout. It'll get you fit for sure.
One of the cyclists I spoke to said he rides between 250 and 325 miles per week. That's some serious dedication.
The track and field team had its first and last outdoor home meet of the season with the Dennis Craddock Relay. The team secured multiple PRs and first place honors on Friday. On Saturday, the Heels kicked off the second day with a ceremony for their seniors and took home 2 more first place victories. Freshman Natasha Dixon took first in the 100-meter hurdles in less than 1 minute and 5 seconds, her first time competing in the event. Fellow freshman Sierra Dunstan earned the first win of her young career, taking the 400-meter race. Paul Halley went home with a 5th place finish in the 400 hurdles, while senior Annie Lee Hardy narrowly missed out on a win in the women's 8. But as you see there, she didn't seem all that upset about it. The teams will travel to Raleigh and Tallahassee, Florida for a pair of meets next weekend.
All right, let's take a second to look what we've talked about so far. Swimming, cycling, running. You know what that sounds an awful lot like? Bingo, a triathlon. Well, as fate would have it, UNC has a club for that.
What I like about triathlon is it's challenging, fun, and rewarding.
You hate it and you love it and you don't want to stop doing it.
With triathlons, preparation is 9/10 of the battle. To just finish a triathlon requires a high level of commitment.
Standard distance triathlon that most people are training for, what they do at nationals, is what they call Olympic distance or international distance. It's a 1,500-meter swim, which is about a mile swim, a 40-kilometer bike, roughly 25 miles, and then a 10-kilometer run, about 6.2 miles.
Team members must push their bodies to the limit to go the distance, practicing all 3 events every week. And while training for a triathlon requires a great deal of individual drive, it also helps to be on a team.
Not even in races, but in workouts, when you know you're suffering with other people and you can all relate about it, it sort of brings you together and helps you to push.
While the 3-event format never changes, The level of seriousness varies among competitors, with members ranging from being competitive on a national level to those who are just trying it out. But there's one thing that all members are serious about, and that's the pre-race meal.
But oatmeal is the #1 meal in my heart. I actually usually start by steeping a bag of chai tea, using that as the water to make my oatmeal, and then adding in like raisins and vanilla and like a whole assortment of spices, peanut butter.
And if you're willing to do all that, competing in a triathlon should be a breeze. In Chapel Hill, I'm Seth Pyle reporting.
Well, I guess I have a new recipe to try out the next time I make oatmeal. Everyone calls the NCAA tournament the Big Dance.
When Sports Extra comes back, one club will show you what it's really like to dance. Think less Euro steps, more foxtrots? Carolina softball faced some tough ACC competition this weekend as they hit the road for a series against the undefeated Louisville Cardinals. UNC split the doubleheader on Saturday, winning the first game 4-2 and falling to U of L in the second game 9-2. To finish out the series, Louisville continued its comeback, defeating the Heels 6-4 on Sunday. Despite the scoreboard, Kristen Brown proved herself as ACC Player of the Week with her stellar batting performance, blasting 2 homers for the Heels. Team competition is over for Carolina Gymnastics following the East Atlantic Gymnastics League Championships. Although the Heels placed 5th out of 6 teams, Morgan Lane and Lexi Capali placed in the top 10 of the all-around competition and might advance to the NCAA Championships, depending on the results of other meets across the country. Although unable to compete because of a season-ending knee injury, Haley Watts is the Eastern Atlantic Senior of the Year, as well as MVP for UNC this season.
Here on Sports Extra, we don't just talk sports, we experience them firsthand. And reporter AJ Nwoko shows us one club sport that's sure to get you up and dancing.
The basement of Woolen Gym is usually silent and dim. But on Wednesdays and Thursday nights, the competitive ballroom dancing club is moving and grooving to the music. And for dance instructors Dominique Barnes and Jordan White, it's more than just dancing.
Fun, exercise, friends, boyfriends.
Passion.
Joy. That's it. That's ballroom. So we have on-campus lessons here for free that anyone can join. Even members of the outside community. They don't have to be students or anything.
White says for competitive ballroom to work, it takes 2 to tango.
There's a lot more of interaction between just you and another person. And even though we have a team here, there's still couples competing against each other.
And that means partners are necessary. But it's something members like Danielle Morea say the club needs more of.
I don't have a partners. When I have to practice, I practice a little bit with one guy, a little bit with another guy, and that's it. And most of the time I'm practicing by myself.
Morea says men shouldn't be afraid to put on their dancing shoes.
Guys think they can't dance or ballroom is not for them, but that's not the truth.
So what you're saying is even someone with a little dancing experience as me can learn how to dance?
Yes.
So I'm going to take Danielle's suggestion and try and get in on the action with the dance instructor, Dominique.
Even though I wasn't the best, with a little footwork, I proved that even I could get down and dance. But if my skills haven't convinced any guys to join, there's one other incentive.
Unlike any other time in your life, men are pursued and sought after in ballroom.
If it's always been your dream to have some girls pursuing you,
Right.
give it a chance, yeah.
Lots of hot girls too. We have lots of nice looking ladies on our team, I'm just saying.
So if you need a club to get footloose, competitive ballroom is saving the next dance for you. In Chapel Hill, I'm AJ Nwoko reporting.
AJ said that while he liked ballroom dancing, he's always wanted to learn how to pop, lock, and break dance. So, Alana, have you ever tried ballroom dancing or any dancing of that kind?
No, I've never given it a go. It's something freshman year. I signed up for it thinking I'd go to the club, learn some cool steps. Never actually carried through with that. What about you?
So actually, when I was a kid in Little Rock, as we talked about earlier on the show, I was actually in cotillion. I was forced by my parents. Yeah.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, that was awesome. And so from 6th grade all the way through 9th grade, I took ballroom dancing classes every other week with manners. Everybody had to wear suits. The first time I actually went, I had to get somebody else to tie my tie because my father was at work. So we had to go to the next door neighbor's house, get him to help me tie the tie to go to the first one. And then, it has actually helped me a lot in my life because now I'm an excellent guest at weddings, as it turns out.
Well, the next time I get invited to a wedding, I know who my +1's going to be.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for watching.
That does it for us here at Sports Extra. Good night, everybody.